Adobe is making a massive move to climb out of its stock market abyss with a strategic buyback and the backing of tech giant Jensen Huang. This power play aims to reshape the software landscape and shake up investor confidence in the company. Stick with us as we break down exactly how this partnership could redefine the future for Adobe shareholders and the entire software sector.
Your brand new iPhone deserves the best protection, and the iLume 3-pack screen protector plus 3-pack camera lens protector has you covered. Don't take risks with your iPhone. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
Are you obsessing over work-life balance? If you are, Iñaki Arino, the CEO of one of the world's largest healthcare companies, says you are looking at the problem all wrong. He argues that if you feel the need for a rigid separation between your job and your life, the issue is not the hours, but the career itself. We are diving deep into this controversial take on professional drive and why some of the most successful people in the world believe the pursuit of balance might actually be holding you back. The AI world is reeling as DeepSeek has officially pulled off the impossible by running its powerful V4 model natively on Huawei chips. Jensen Huang has even labeled this move a disaster for the industry, as it threatens the long-standing dominance of the NVIDIA ecosystem. We are peeling back the curtain on this technical breakthrough and explaining why a path that is 50 times cheaper could force the entire AI industry to rethink its reliance on standard hardware. Is the gap between US and Chinese AI capabilities actually growing instead of shrinking? A former ByteDance engineer, Zhang Kai, is sounding the alarm, claiming that Chinese firms are merely optimizing for test scores while falling behind in real-world performance and infrastructure speed. We analyze his sobering warning and contrast it with the high-stakes debate happening among tech titans like Elon Musk. If you want to stay ahead of the latest in tech and business, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Ever wonder what it takes to pull a tech giant out of a slump? Adobe is currently fighting to claw its way out of a software stock abyss, and they are not doing it alone. In a fascinating power move, the company is turning to a combination of aggressive stock buybacks and some serious strategic alignment with none other than Jensen Huang. It is a classic narrative of a legacy giant proving it still has the teeth to compete in an AI-dominated market. But is this enough to sustain their rebound, or just a temporary band-aid on a deeper structural challenge? We are diving into how Adobe is trying to rewrite its own future. If you want to stay ahead of these market-shifting trends, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell notification. Ultimately, in the world of big tech, it is rarely just about the software. It is about who you align with when the stakes are at their highest. What if everything you've been told about work-life balance is actually a massive red flag? We live in a world where the 5 p.m. clockout is treated like a sacred ritual, especially among millennials and Gen Z, but Iñaki Arino, the CEO of one of the world's largest healthcare companies, has a controversial take. If you're obsessing over balance, your problem isn't your schedule, it's your job. Think about it. When you're doing something you truly love, the line between work and life starts to blur in a way that doesn't feel like a chore. Arino, who manages 100,000 employees, admits he thinks about business even while hitting the gym with his son. He doesn't see it as pressure, he sees it as passion. He argues that if you're constantly counting down the minutes until you're free, you aren't just tired, you're in the wrong lane. And he's not alone in this philosophy. From billionaire entrepreneurs like Lucy Guo and will.i.am to tech titans like NVIDIA's Jensen Huang, the consensus among the world's highest achievers is that true success often requires a single-minded obsession that doesn't follow a 9-to-5 mold. As Reid Hoffman once pointed out, chasing balance might just be a sign that you aren't fully committed to the win. Now, this doesn't mean you should burn yourself out for a company that doesn't care. It means you should start asking why you feel the need to escape your work in the first place. Are you chasing a paycheck, or are you chasing a purpose? The advice here isn't to work yourself into an early grave. It's to find work so engaging that balance becomes an irrelevant concept. If you found this perspective shift helpful, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments. Do you think work-life balance is a necessity or a symptom of the wrong career? Remember, if you're living for the weekend, you're losing 5 days of your life every single week. What if I told you the next biggest threat to NVIDIA isn't a rival GPU, but a simple line of code. Welcome to the DeepSeek revolution, where the rules of the game aren't just being challenged, they're being rewritten from the ground up. DeepSeek just dropped their V4 model, and the numbers are honestly jarring. We're talking about API pricing that is literally 50 times cheaper than GPT-4 or Claude Opus. To put that in perspective, this isn't just a discount, it's a total market disruption. And while everyone is obsessing over the price tag, the real headline is buried in the technical report. DeepSeek V4 isn't just running on NVIDIA, it's natively adapted for Huawei's Ascend NPU. When Jensen Huang himself labels a competitor's move as catastrophic, you know the ground is shifting beneath our feet. For years, NVIDIA's true moat wasn't just raw silicon, it was the CUDA software ecosystem. Developers were locked into a world where everything ran on NVIDIA by default, but DeepSeek is breaking that chain. By achieving native performance on Huawei chips, they've proven that a non-CUDA path is not just possible, but highly efficient. They've successfully moved from the "can they even do it" phase to the "how fast can they scale" phase. It's not just about efficiency, it's about math. DeepSeek's journey from V2 to V4 has been a relentless pursuit of squeezing more intelligence out of fewer resources. They pioneered FP8 training when everyone else was scared to touch it, and now with V4, they've introduced new attention mechanisms like CSA and HCA that effectively treat a million token context as the new default standard. It's not just tech spec boasting, it's a fundamental change in infrastructure. We are witnessing the rise of AI's own version of Moore's Law. Sam Altman famously noted that AI costs drop by a factor of 10 every year, and DeepSeek is currently the most radical executor of that law. While the industry debates whether these cost figures are underreported, the reality remains. Even if you double their claimed costs, they are still miles ahead of the competition. They aren't just building better models, they are building a different business model entirely. With giants like Alibaba, ByteDance, and Tencent now rushing to secure Huawei chips, the shift is becoming an industry consensus. We've moved from the era of burning cash to see what happens to the era of profitable, enterprise-level AI. The AI bubble narrative is losing steam as real revenue starts to climb. DeepSeek has proven that the biggest advantage in the AI race isn't having the most cards. It's knowing how to make every single one of them do twice the work. As they move toward their next commercial inflection point, one thing is certain. The era of expensive, locked-in AI is fading. The question now isn't who has the most computing power, but who can make their computing power the most irrelevant to the cost of innovation. What do you think? Is the CUDA-dominated world finally facing its Kodak moment, or can NVIDIA's ecosystem hold the line? Drop a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the tech that's changing your future. After all, in a world of exponential decline in costs, the only thing that's becoming truly expensive is being left behind. We keep hearing the narrative that China is breathing down the neck of the US when it comes to the AI arms race. Elon Musk and Jensen Huang have practically built their recent forecasts around the idea that Beijing is catching up, or might even leapfrog us. But what if we've been fed a myth? A former ByteDance engineer, Zhang Kai, recently blew the whistle on this trend, and his take is chilling. He believes the gap between China and the US isn't closing, it's actually getting wider. So why the disconnect? Zhang, who has deep roots in both the tech giant ByteDance and academia, points to a phenomenon he calls benchmarking. You see, Chinese tech giants love to show off impressive scores on standardized AI benchmarks. On paper, they look like world beaters, but in the real world, it's a different story. These models are optimized to game the test, not to solve complex, real-world problems. It's the difference between memorizing a textbook and actually understanding the subject matter. And it's not just about the code, it's about the engine under the hood. Zhang reveals a brutal reality regarding iteration speed. While a company like Google can push through a full cycle of LLM training in about 3 months, firms like ByteDance might take 6 months just to finish a single iteration. When you're running a race at half the speed of your opponent, you don't just fall behind, you vanish into the rearview mirror. Add to that the hardware bottlenecks caused by limited access to cutting-edge chips and a reliance on distilled data, essentially copying from top-tier US models instead of building original, high-quality pipelines, and you start to see why the engine is stalling. There's also the chicken and the egg problem. Because Chinese models haven't been as polished as ChatGPT or Claude, they haven't seen widespread, mission-critical adoption. Without that massive influx of real user data, they can't refine their feedback loops. It's a negative cycle that keeps these models stuck in mediocrity, while their American counterparts continue to sharpen their edges with every single query. Of course, big names in the industry disagree, but Zhang is speaking from the front lines of the Chinese ecosystem. If his assessment holds water, the so-called AI race might be more of a runaway train than a neck-and-neck sprint. What do you think? Is this just a temporary speed bump for China, or is the infrastructure gap truly too wide to cross? Drop a comment below with your take, and make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the technologies shaping our future. Because in the world of AI, the distance between almost there and irrelevant is often smaller than we like to think.